Patron people. I hope you're all fine and well. It's a rainy day here in Pennsylvania. This is Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for You. But I'm nice and cozy, warm in our house. I do have a tutorial coming up and a few other things I want to mention. But first of all, we have a winner. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 for my last tutorials. It was sweet. This tutorial that's coming up is pretty cool. I really like it. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more interesting if you like this kind of thing. But my winner for my the one was a prototype and the other one was my little glass case holder. For my larger sunglasses, it's a bit larger sunglass holder. We have a winner. I have this one here. Don't judge me because this was my prototype. This is pretty good. And as you saw last month or whenever it was, I had the actual tutorial on making this little glass case holder. I think it's sweet. Fully lined, if you remember that. No raw seams. Lovely little glass holder. And we have a winner. So if you want them, Virginia Nordmeyer, come on down. You have won. You have won these two little glass case holders, and I'm going to put in a little extra special present for my winners from now on, something that I made in my sewing room for a thank you. I wish I could thank all of you. I have over 150 patrons. Oh my word, thank you, thank you, thank you. It helps so very much. So Virginia Nordmeyer, I will be getting in touch, and if you want this, if you want these little things, I will get your mailing address and everything and all of your information and send them to you. I'm coming to you after our nightmare, which is a little bit ongoing, of our hacking scam that happened on my personal computer. If you've been following my block party, those videos had been sort of in the can up until block number 10, but this is more live for my patrons to tell you what's going on. We've sorted out most, we've sorted about a half of the banking situation. We have a couple of accounts that still aren't being shown, whatever. But they're going to be taken care of. I still have to contact quite a few people, which you get put on hold, and I'm literally on hold for maybe an hour and a half. And you can't, listening to the elevator music, but they needed my information and blah, blah. It has been a little bit of a nightmare, which has really taken it out of Ian and I. I keep saying we're too old for this. But I was thinking about my patrons, and again, I had asked you guys about the credit thing. If you had read my last post on Patreon, I had seen that on a few YouTube videos, and I thought, oh, how lovely. Thanking my patrons, and then there's a rolling list of credits with your guys' names on it. I thought that would be super. And I got a lot of responses that you're thanking me. Oh, so very kind for putting my little videos up. But I really wanted to thank you guys. And I was saying about Elliot could come and probably help me, our fifth son, Elliot, to do that. It's a little bit. Have to go into another website and another software. I don't know. And I just have to tell you, Elliot's a little bit preoccupied. He just got engaged. To the most beautiful girl. More of that to come, because they've carried on a bit of a COVID relationship. She's in another state, but we'll be moving here. Which is just awesome. So I will be, you guys are the first to know. Our Elliot, he's our fifth son, and he, other than Maxwell, is the last to have got to get married. And he's been waiting for the perfect woman, and he found her. Wonderful, wonderful. All of our daughter-in-laws. My husband and I said we could not have chosen better daughter-in-laws and a son-in-law for our 9 children that are married, not excluding Maxwell. We're so very, very thrilled. So that's all happening. He's going to get married, so he's busy. So anyway, about the credit thing, I don't know if I'm going to do it, but thank you. And if I could name all of your names, I would, but that's boring. So I do have a tutorial for you guys, and it's a rather specific tutorial for something that I really like and I really actually needed in my wardrobe. And it's not little, it's a sort of a big thing if you collect this thing. What in the world am I talking about? My prototype is this. Minus the scarves, but this coat hanger cover with scarf rings on it. This is my tutorial. I've done this one again as a prototype. I used my binding, but I didn't like that, so I made a couple others, which I'm going to show you, which my tutorial is on. But this, I collect a tremendous, and I wear a tremendous amount of scarves, right? So I had gotten online these scarf rings. They are actually made for this purpose. And I made this little cover for a coat hanger, which if the coat hanger breaks, you can replace it. And I'd explain that. That's my little prototype that I made, but I made it a bit easier. And this is my tutorial. This is my tutorial for my little hanger. I'll get to that in a minute though. I had just made a covered coat hanger. That's all. A covered coat hanger, which is this. Now, this has a wider opening for the hook. And again, it's open and it's fully lined, as is my little scarf holder. It's fully lined and it has just a regular seam. I have not embellished this whatsoever. It's just a covered coat hanger in rather a plain material. However, if you want to stop at this point in my tutorial with some beautiful fabrics, you can make these coat hangers maybe as a present. If you know somebody has a shabby chic bedroom or a more modern bedroom or their closet, or they, you know, for a bridal shower, get a dozen inexpensive, in this country, coat hangers, and you could make matching, beautiful, lovely, embellished if you want with bows and ribbons and pom-poms and lace. Awesome. And I say in my video, a lot of the new coat hangers have the little hooky out for where straps would hang on. You could put on your covers, you say, oh, I don't want to lose those, my strap holders, little buttons or big buttons. So your coat, so it's practical and pretty. But this is just a plain one. So this here, throw that over there. This here is my tutorial. And as you can see, I have purchased my rings. They are actual scarf rings. I got these on Amazon for I think about $10. I think I mentioned that, for a dozen of them. I used 7 of them in the actual tutorial. And again, this is fully lined. It's fully lined. The one I've done a tutorial on, that somebody, if they're interested, will be winning it. The next time I do my video, I will be choosing a winner for this. I used you can use any type of a ribbon or leftover binding for the little tabs. I show you how I did. I use scraps of my bias binding that I have tons of little scraps. That's all that is. It's 1 fat quarter for the outside, and then I use just a little bit of muslin to fully line it. Again, I'm giving you sort of ballpark measurements because your hangers might be different, but I give you the actual idea of how to make it with your hanger. And again, we've all had the hook break, right, off of these hangers. So how I've made this, it's open. You can take the hanger off, you can take the cover off and out, and you can replace the hanger if it does break. But this is my little tutorial. I'm so thrilled with it. This will hold 7, perhaps even 14 lighter weight scarves. You can have them hanging up, almost like a little bit of an art project on your wall or in your wardrobe closet. Instead of folding your scarves up, the scarves nowadays are real long because they wrap around. I like that, you know, cover up all the wrinkles. But they're long, so you could hang this up in your wardrobe and have all of your scarves hanging wrinkle-free. So this is my tutorial. You'll have seen my finished hanger. my scarf hanger in this fabric, in this dotted fabric, which is a cream with all of the different colors on it. Now, what I have done is I have taken, this is basically 2 fat quarters, one and then the lining. You don't have to line this, but I think it becomes really nice and substantial when it's lined, as this one is. My first one I showed you, in the beginning, had the binding on it. I'm not doing that right now. I'm concentrating more on just making a clean and simple, very simple hanger sleeve. Now, the instructions I'm giving is obviously a guide, because you may not have this exact coat hanger, okay? You may have a hanger smaller, or you may have a hanger a little bit larger. But for my velvet hanger here, that we can get in America here, with a nice pretty hook, I have cut my fabric. I have cut 2 pieces of fabric, each fabric, 1, 2, 1, 2. I've cut the outside and my lining 9 inches by 20 inches, 9 inches by 20 inches for my size hanger, okay? And then you can figure out how big your piece of fabric could be. But I think just 1 fat quarter for this part, and 1 fat quarter for the lining, or some muslin for the lining, will be sufficient. Again, we're making it like this, with a seam here fully lined, okay? And then just the little collar here at the top for my hanger. I have not put my rings on this one yet. So what we're also going to need is, as you can see here, I have all of these colorful ends of bias binding, okay? You don't need these. You just can have a ribbon. Well, actually, I say a ribbon. You want something a bit substantial, maybe a double folded type of fabric if you're just going to be making a strip and having the same one subcut. I had a bunch of these leftover scraps from my bias binding, which will end up 1, 2, 3, 4 widths thick, and that is a really nice thing. What I will do for substantial wise, I'll thread all my rings on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to stitch the edges down. Obviously, I'm going to stitch these edges right down. I'm going to do that, and then these will be my hangers, my tabs off of the bottom of my hanger here. Obviously, you're going to be needing to purchase these scarf rings. I did get these online from Amazon. They're about $9–10 for 12 of them. I got 2 packages here. I'm going to be making 3 of them with the 2 packages, with a few left over, because I'm going to be putting one on each end. I'm going to be putting on 7 of these. Okay, let me see. I'll put that one over there. So I'm going to be, if you're going to be cutting anything out in a strip, you're going to be needing 3.5 inch. We're going to be trimming them down. You don't have to finish them. Just 7 for what I'm going to be showing you, that I'm going to be threading my rings on. Okay. So again, this is a pack of plastic scarf rings. It's just a molded piece of plastic, a ring, which is absolutely meant for this, for hanging scarves. So they're inexpensive. So that's what you need to purchase. Again, 2 fat quarters, or a fat quarter and some lining, and we are making this here, right here, fully lined. So I'll move my bits over here, and I just chose all of these because this is a colorful little print. So my hanger itself will be quite pretty, because you will see the tabs hanging down. Now, what you want to do is, I always think that if we're going to be sewing right sides together of anything, we should be putting right sides together when we cut it, right? We're going to cut it and sew it. So now I got to figure this out. I'm just going to have, that's just a muslin. I'm going to be putting the first lining piece down, and then the next lining piece on top. Okay? So 1 piece of lining and 1 with the print up. Now we're going to put what? Pretty sides together, always pretty sides together, print side down, and lining on top. Okay? Could have ironed that a bit better, but that's okay. will iron everything in when it comes to it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my hanger just like that. And with this measurement for me, I have about 1.5 inches on each side, which you want, okay? Now, with my hanger here and about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and a good 2 inches down at the bottom, all right? That's why I like this measurement here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, from the top, I'm going to come in about 1.5 inches there, and I'm going to stay away about 1.5 inches. I'm just going to trace the profile, forget that little divot there. I'm going to trace the profile of my hanger, and then I'm going to come right down. So I have a Sharpie, you should have, it's okay. I'm going to stay about 1/2 inch away, and I'm just tracing that profile of my hanger. And then I'm going to come right down, holding it there, about 1.5 inches in there. This is our little collar here, and then I'm going to go, we'll start at this end, about 1/2 inch away. Can't really see, here we go. Coming up that curve, and there, like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my machine just as it is right here. Okay, I'm going to put a few pins in there to secure it on each side. And I'm going to sew exactly what I've, at the line, how I've layered these. So again, I'm sewing exactly, or I've cut them exactly as I'm going to sew them, so that when we turn this inside out, everything will be perfectly aligned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and what I won't show you now, but I'm just going to sew along this line here, on that line. I'm going to sew on that line. I have brought you over to my machine because I've just changed it up a little bit. Because this one that I had done, I had to sort of tuck that in and sort of sew the collar around. And I was at my machine and I thought, well, why don't I do that right now? So on this top edge where there's my line, which I would just be stitching down, I'm actually rolling that over to sort of make a finished edge on sort of both sides. Hopefully you can see what I mean there. It's rolled over there and it's rolled over there. I've done one side already. So when I go to turn it, I can just have this nice little finished edge to just hand stitch those few bits there. So I've come down to where the collar ends. I've left my needle down, and I'm just going to come around to this point here. Now it's not perfect, I see, but it'll follow the profile of the hanger pretty well. I'm just stitching on my marked line. I'm not stretching anything, I'm not pulling anything, because we are going to be cutting the curve down. Now actually, I should be rolling that up too. I'll do that all in one. I'll show you when I come to it. But I will back stitch that bottom edge there, okay? And pull that out and pull my pins out on that side. It would be the same principle as up here on the hem, but I'll address that when we get to the hem. Put my pins away, and I'll come back over here. Everything is nice and stitched together. And I will back stitch on this first line here. And again, I'm stitching on that green line, the profile of my hanger. Just take your time. I'm going to clip these clips there, and now I'm just going to roll this bottom one under. I'm going to roll that top one under, have them meet, needle down. It's a bit of a wide collar for the hook, but that's okay. I don't want to be fiddling with something small. So again, as you can see now, I'm going to back stitch that real well. I have a finished edge. When we turn this inside out, I have a nice finished edge here. Now, I'm going to go over and I'm going to trim this. So it's right off of my machine. You can't see it, but I can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this. I'm going to trim a little bit more than 1/4 inch, right around the profile, right away from that stitching. I think my marking is good because I can see it. I'm not going to stitch it right to 1/4 inch Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip. It's very important. Get rid of this bulk here. I'm going to clip these curves, just like you would in any dressmaking curved application. You're just going to clip your seam. A lot of people do notches, which is fine, and that's just to allow for when you turn it around that the fabric can sort of go back on itself like that, and it's not a big lump of fabric. That's the reason for clipping. So that edge is clipped really nice, and then I'm going to come up here and do the exact same thing right around. It looks like a coat hanger thing. Clip right into there, and then I will get rid of that lump there. We don't want that lump up near the collar. And again, I'm just going to clip. Make sure you don't clip the seam, obviously. This, I don't know what's concave and what's convex here and there. I don't know. But that's where it's important to clip, on those real curves, just so you get a nice turning right along. Okay, so now we've sewn it, we've cut it together and we've sewn it together. Now we're going to turn it inside out. We have a fully lined, almost finished top, hopefully. Am I sort of going to have a ta-da moment? Just push that up, push this in, and we don't worry about our bottom unfinished edge right now. Look at that, only a few seconds. Actually, if you just wanted to make these in real pretty fabric and embellish them so pretty, it'll be a nice presents. Make a dozen of them. Really, really nice. And also, my coat hanger has these little notches, obviously for when your straps go here, so it doesn't fall off, but that you lose the notch. But what you can do is, once you put your hanger in, you can put a beautiful little decorative button, a nice little button on that seam right there, so you don't lose your notches. Nice idea. So if you just wanted to make these without making it into a scarf holder, just a coat hanger cover, how sweet. Now I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to mess about with that. That collar's up there. That's pretty good. Now I'm going to iron this really, really nice the whole time, putting my hands inside, smoothing that top edge out. You can see I'm taking my hands and I'm smoothing that out. So when I go to iron that, it's really nice and smooth, okay? Now the test is, you sort of put your hanger in it at an angle and pull the hook, and then it should just fit so nicely. You don't want it too loose, you don't want it too tight. And there, straighten it up. I got to iron that up there, make that real nice. But there is my hanger right up at that seam on the arms there. Beautiful. Really, really nice. Love it. Love it. So now we have this down here. You say, well, what do we do with this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over and I'm going to iron my hanger cover really, really well. Get the seam nice here. Pull my curve out so you see the curve of the hanger. Pull that up like that. Iron that down. And then we're going to address the bottom here. And this is where the fun comes in, to hem it and to attach our rings. I've taken my hanger off of the ironing board. I still have to iron it a little bit better. It's pretty good. I've got my nice curve here and my nice curve here. They don't match, but the hanger doesn't know. But what I am going to do is, as you can see, it's a little bit raggedy on the edge here, as well as we cut it still. So I'm going to take my long ruler, and it's important right now that I'm going to cut. I'm just going to make sure that all four layers are exactly the same to make our hem really nice. So there's one, there's one. So it's just about a 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more. Make sure this is nice and straight on my mat. And just line up my ruler and just cut off that and make it really nice and straight, all 4 of them. Okay? There you go. Now we have a nice, lovely straight edge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my machine, open this up. We have our fully lined padded or fully lined hanger, and I'm going to just stitch just right on the edge there, just to secure these two together. Then we're going to put our hem. You might say, well, why don't you just do your hem now? I just find if it shifts, then it makes a bit of a wrinkly mess down here. So I'm just going to make sure that the two edges, the two pieces of fabric all the way around are secured. I have my edge that I'm going to secure, but first what I'm going to do is, just to get this out of the way, I'm going to like chain piece my binding together just on one edge, because it's open. Again, if you're using another tie or heavier ribbon, but I'm just going to chain piece and then cut apart, just so we have one edge sewn together. Yeah, I'm using white thread. It's okay. This is just to make real decorative little hangings. As you know, bias binding is narrower on one side than it is on the other. So you want to stitch it on the narrow side so that you know for sure you're catching it on the wider side underneath. So I'm just doing that just to make pretty ties, figuring out this is my narrow side. This is my narrow side here. So there's my lovely little ties. Cut these apart. And again, whatever little ribbon or whatever tab, whatever you're using. Again, I'm just using scraps here. So I have them done right there. I'll put them to the side. Now, what I was talking about in making this as one, I'll start at a seam. And I'm just going to, however the seam wants to go, I'm just going to stitch right along the edge. Now I've taken it off my ironing board and off my cutting board, so I know my fabric is nice and together. This is just so we have a nice, neat hem. And you're working with, as it was, one fabric instead of two to hem. There you go. Right around. Be gentle with it. I'm not pulling anything. I'm not separating the layers. And it's right on the edge. What I will do is I will go over and I'll just give this a little bit of an iron. Again, I like to iron as I go along. Make sure everything is nice and pressed well. I think that's that ironing, like almost each step, just makes your project really nice. Now that looks awesome, but I'm just going to go over and hit it with an iron. So I'm back, and now I don't have to worry about them separating. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll that up. I'm going to start at one seam. I'm just going to roll it up, maybe a little bit more than 1/4 inch, and just roll it up again. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a machine hem. Just roll it up. Make sure everything is sort of straight in front of you. Keep the same rolled fabrics, the same size fabric right in front of you, so it doesn't go all skewy. Just do a few inches at a time, keeping it nice and straight like that. So you tuck and then you roll. And go right around the bottom of our hanger. Now obviously I keep the bottom of the hanger open, so there is a way to do this, to close this and to have a closed hanger, but I do it this way because if your hanger hook breaks, which, yeah, you've had that happen, haven't you? You go to pull something off and the hook's broken right off your lovely hanger. It's no good. So that way you can, if that happens, you can just replace your hanger and not the whole lovely scarf thing. Because our rings are attached to the cover and not the hanger itself. Again, here I come up, my folded bits are lovely right there, and I'm going to meet exactly where I began. Okay. Cut my things, cut my threads. Now again, I'm going to go over and I'm going to press that really, really well. Now this is where the fun begins. What you're going to do is you're going to find the exact center of our holder here, and on one side, on this side, what we're going to do is we're just going to, I'm not bothered that these are raw edges because they're on the inside and I'm going to secure them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center and fold this in half, fold my piece in half like that. First of all though, what do I have to do? I have to get a ring. Okay, I have to get a ring. And now, with my edges folded in half, I'm going to do it on the other side. I'm going to find the center on the other side, on the underside, because I'm going to sew. I'm going to sew right on top of that stitching that I've already done, my hem stitching. And I'm going to keep my ring well away. And since we've cut all of these the same size, what's hanging down is maybe about an inch or so. But I'm going to secure, make sure the two edges are together nice. And I'm just going to slowly, because it's a lot of layers, as you can hear my machine, I'm going to really, really slowly stitch and back stitch and secure my rings on. You will see the stitching on the back or on the front, but I don't want my rings, oops, my machine unthreaded. I don't want my rings to come off. And that line of stitching is right in the hem stitching there. At the very end, we are going to, I gotta rethread my machine. At the very end, we're going to just stitch again on the very bottom here to secure it there also. But that's more of a decorative stitch. This is the stitch that holds our little rings together. So now I'm just going to go, there's one ring, look. Now, what I am doing is I'm alternating. I'm going to put one on the end here. And then what I do is I'm going to put one on the end, okay? And then I can eyeball evenly. This is the middle, this is the end. Then I have two on in there. So I'm going to take another ring. I'm stuck. And I'm going to wrap this around like that, keeping my ring out of the way. And I'll do this on that bottom side. That's fine. I'll just put that right there, sort of near this, right near the seam. And I'm going to just make sure all the layers are together. And again, very carefully, slowly, because it's a lot of layers, but your machine will do it. Just go over and back stitch, back stitch, back stitch to secure my ring on. Oh, my machine! Oh, my thread is shredding. Look at that. I wonder if my needle is compromised. I think I have to change my needle. But there you go. I did it quite a lot of times. Clip my threads, and I'm just going to continue. As you can see, there's that one on that edge and in the middle, and I'll do this one over here. Now this one I'll turn over and just alternate. Put like 3 or 4 on one side and 3 or 4 on the other side. Now I'm gonna. So now that I have them all secured, they look so pretty. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch along this bottom edge. I'm going to flick this around and just secure the bottom row there. Just all the way along. Just more of a top stitching. Just more of a top stitching. But also when I get to the rings, it'll be an extra, it's an extra line of protection from them ripping off of our hanger, and looks pretty. Keep your rings out of the way. just one line all the way around our cover. So pretty. As you can see, it doesn't take long at all. Now this is at the seam, so it's a bit thicker. You want to just take it steady. There you go. And again, since you've done like a 1/2 inch, you're not fiddling with it. You're just, it's easy to go right around, as you can see. Some of them are on one side and some of them are on the other. That's exactly what we want. And coming up to my threads here. And finish up. And there we go. So I'll put my hanger on, and I do have to finish. I do have to finish this. Oh man, do I have to sew it? I guess I have to sort of hand stitch that rolled edge down. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess I have to hand stitch it. But I'll do that, and then see what it looks like. Here's my cover right off of the ironing board. I just stitched these on. Some of them are on that side, some of them are on this side. And then this is when you just put your hanger into the thing at an angle. And then just, again, if your hanger breaks, if your hook breaks, then your cover still works with another hanger. And there, oops, there's my hanger. Let me see. There's my hanger, my scarf hanger. Oh, it's lovely. Now, there's no reason why you couldn't embellish this. There's no reason why you couldn't put bows on here. Again, as I said, I can feel that slot there. You could put a lovely, if you were going to just have it as the cover, you could put a button right there so your clothes don't fall off. But there is my scarf hanger. Look at that. 7 lovely practical hooks each side, so our cover hangs well on each side. And again, if your hooky breaks, which they can, you can just slot in yet another hanger. So I do hope you like this. Somebody will be winning it. What do you think? Minus my scarves. You'll have seen this in the beginning. And I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty. And if you, obviously I don't know anybody's decor, but if you did know somebody's color, these are pretty to even hang on a wall with pretty scarves. Or as I was saying, hopefully I was saying in the beginning, if you're going, maybe somebody is a scarf fiend, you could buy them scarves and attach them scarves. What a lovely present that would be. So again, I do hope you love this tutorial. I had a ta-da moment. All right, folks. See ya.